up to 60% off all furniture, 40% off all home decor, 50% off select electronics, and more. Every deal helps the rebuild of Bay County's only no-kill shelter. So when you shop, you're giving back. Shop smart and support a great cause. Only at the Humane Society's Thrift and Gift Store, where secondhand shopping saves lives.
This is Patrick with Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. Your home is your piece of paradise. Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control can protect your home from unwanted bugs and insects. These pests can cause damage, bring in germs, spread bacteria, viruses, and other problems. To stop and eliminate this from happening, our pest control service is what you need. Call Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control at 850-890-5820, 850-890-5820, or look us up on Facebook at Turf Pro PC.
If you think dangerous blood clots can't happen to you, think again. Up to 900,000 men, women, and children are affected by blood clots each year, and about 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. Major risks for blood clots include a family or personal history of blood clots, a recent hospitalization or surgery, pregnancy and cancer and its treatments. Symptoms of a blood clot in the legs or arms can include pain, swelling, and skin that is warm to the touch, red, or discolored. Symptoms of blood clots in the lungs include difficulty breathing, chest pain that worsens with a deep breath, or a cough, coughing up blood, and a faster than normal or irregular heartbeat. Speak with a doctor about your risks for blood clots and seek medical attention if you have any symptoms. On average, one person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Stop the clot. Spread the word. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
Elena had another asthma attack. She's really sad to miss school again.
Asthma can be triggered by allergens from common pests.
I just can't shake this fever.
Mosquito bites can cause West Nile and Zika virus infections.
Sorry, boss. I'm going to be out of work for a while.
The CDC estimates that more than 300,000 Lyme disease cases spread by ticks occur in the U.S. each year. Don't let pests force you to take a sick day. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the inside drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome to the Inside Drive. I'm Paul Wilson. I'll be your host today. It's so good to be able to be with you guys. Hopefully you're listening or watching from whatever platform you are watching from. Don't forget, the voting has already started and already on tap. Go ahead and vote for my guy, Ryan Mulvey, on the Inside Drive so that he might win back-to-back Best of Bay. Don't forget to do that. Also, don't forget that 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your spot for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Tonight, the Braves host the Rockies at 6 p.m. First pitch, 6:15. We will be talking a little bit of Braves baseball again today. And joining me, as always, my friend, the guy, David Hayes. Good to see you, David.
What's going on, Paul? Great to see you as well. And, you know, you begin the week with us, so I know that's the bad time when I see you. Like, oh, here we go again. No, I'm just getting love coming in and talking sports with you guys. But also, you're a blessing because you also represent Friday. So good to see you, my man. Hope you've been doing well.
Oh, yeah, been doing good. It is 38 hot outside. I don't know if you've been out there much, but it is boiling over there.
Well, I can't say much, but yes, you are right.
Yeah, so it's pretty sticky outside. And all of those kids, now check this out. You got all of those tournaments there are going on right now at Publix Park over there on the beach side. Yeah. And it is a scorcher. I don't know if you've ever been out in turf when it's about 100 degrees or, you know, that index being.
A few times for softball.
Yeah, it's a scorcher. I know some of the games are over at Frank Brown, but They have 175 teams from 8U, I think, all the way up to 16U over at the Publix Park and Frank Brown, going on right now to see who's going to be the World Series champs for this week, because next week they do it all over again. And it's crazy.
Same age brackets next week?
Yeah, it'll be the same age brackets. A different organization comes in and takes care of it, and it's just a bunch of World Series play-in.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of
what
cool
league
stuff.
is this one?
This one's a USSSA.
USSSA.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next week?
Next week is Grand Slam organization.
See, they need to make a thing called like the Major Junior League or Major Little League World Series. They wouldn't probably be able to get away with that, but then you take the champion of the Little League World Series, the champion of the Triple USA or whatever, you know, the Dizzy Dean Leagues, all of that, and then have a World Series with all of the World Series winners.
All the winners, yeah. That would
go.
be kind of cool.
That would be insane. But you would have too many people who's trying to get in on the money side of it that would destruct that before it even got constructed.
They probably could split it, because I got some numbers for you whenever you're ready for that. But if you think about it, if you could do the PG, USSSA, the Grand Slam, I think they do a 2D also as another. If you could do all of those and have all their champions come in and play, and then they just all kind of split the money, that would work. But I don't know. I think probably the way they're doing it now is probably the most money that they could get it, because, like I said, 175 teams, $1,200 per team.
$1,200 per team
to play for the whole week.
Oh my
So you're guaranteed anywhere from 8 to 10 games, I believe. So it's a big deal going on, and it's $20 a pop per person to get in.
Okay, so see, these are those things that they drive me crazy. So we've got to pay, and it happens across the board. Like, this is everything now. But so we're paying $1,200 for our team to be there. Let's see what our team's made up of. These players.
Yeah.
You know, and then we've got to pay 20. And the thing is the economy is so crazy. Like, and you know that the parents they're going to do what the kid needs to do. You know what I'm saying? So you put everyone in such a tough position. Guys, the economy's not going to be better if we just keep on taking all of the money from everyone over every little fee. It's like, come on, are we all becoming Ticketmaster out here? Yeah,
that's so funny.
For everything.
And then you got to think about, so my son's team, they're going to be playing next week. So thankfully we live here, so we'll just go back and forth from home.
Yeah.
But you got to think there's teams from Texas and Arkansas and all this place. Food, so they're gas and food, and they're staying, you know, because if you come to the beach to play in a beach World Series, you're going to stay in a condo. Yeah. You know what I mean? So then you got the condo prices. And I know some of the parents, they go in together and stay together and do the 3 and 4 bedroom condos and that kind of stuff. And that kind of knocks the prices down. And then you kind of use that as your vacation for the year. Yeah. So, which is kind of cool too. I mean, but like, you know, so let me get on this soapbox real quick. So a lot of times the parents get such the bad raps at the travel ball and, you know, getting all over the umpires for making a bad call or missing it or something like that. And it's like, oh, it's just travel, you know, it's travel ball. Sorry, little Johnny didn't, you know, get his base hit so he could score his or win the game and win the $2 ring that you win at the end of the game. But I just like to push back against that a little bit, because of all the expenses that you have to pay as a parent for your child to play, especially if it's a competitive team where you're going and you're having to play, because you're not going to play all the local tournaments. Yeah. You're going to go and travel and play, you know, and so there's a lot of money invested in this. So like when you do have the parents getting into it with the umpires, obviously, you know, there needs to be a balance. You know, don't act like an idiot necessarily, but I would venture to, you know, give them a little more grace, give them a little, because they've paid for their player, they're paid for their son or daughter.
But no one told you had to do that. No, seriously, especially travel ball, because those are, and this is from outside looking in and haven't spent a lot, but those seem to be the worst of the worst when it comes to parents. Like not parenting. Not
Right,
parenting.
I get you.
I'm talking about being on the bleachers and yapping and stuff. Just because you decided, hey, it might be better for us to drive an hour and a half for a competition, when it's like there's really a lot of competition here in Panama City, and because everyone has gone out and played all these different competitions, now the competition within the city is built up. You guys could actually be playing each other. I would say that baseball's in a better place here than what it was, say, 10 years ago or so.
Of course.
Because of everyone doing that. So there is positives in that aspect. And again, this is with a large hint of ignorance that I'm speaking on right now, just from what I see I'm saying because I don't live in that world.
Right.
So I've only seen it a couple times. You can't get a true look at something from just a couple of times. But still, so Travel Ball has done good things. But there's also, the element of staying home and not having to spend money every single weekend.
Right. Yeah. And that makes real big sense. And the thing is like whenever we are talking about it, we have a lot of people that, blame the parents and it can go both ways. I'm with you on that. I have a vested interest in that, because you do pay for specialized coaches and you pay your fee to play, and then you're paying for going to tournaments, and I get it. That's your prerogative. If you have to take the good with the bad whenever you spend that kind of money. And I just always venture to the side of even, because I've also umpired some too, and I get it. I understand the passion, but you do have some umpires that they are hot and they are aggravated and they're ready to go home, and they've made a call that wasn't the right call.
They've made their calls.
Yeah.
They've made their mistakes.
Because they have this little bit of ego, like everybody has, that they want to hold on to, I'm the power, I'm the guy that says this or that. And then, because check this out. In these big tournaments like this, if the parent gets ejected, the coach gets ejected. But now, like on some of this, the parent is ejected for the remainder of the event.
Oh, so if it's a Friday game or a Saturday game, they can't come to Sunday. Hey, let's get over to the phone line real quick. Bill Shields has a comment on what we're talking about.
Hey, Bill. Yeah.
Hey, guys. I umpired for a number of years. And the last several years that I umpired, it was girls fast pitch. Traveled all over the Southeast doing tournaments, just like what's going on out there this week and next week. Did World Series here and there. And a couple of comments. Number one, the idea that the parents have because they paid money, have the right to call an umpire, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. There are ways to argue a call without climbing the fence and getting up there and being nasty about it. There's ways to argue. Are there some umpires out there that will dig their heels in? Yeah. But after you've heard enough of that BS, that you want to dig your heels in. And I want to tell you something else. When I left in 2018 was the last year that I umpired. You know what the average age of umpires were in youth sports across America?
Oh, I want to take a guess. 57.
I'll say 19.
No, 55 at that time. Why do you think younger guys were not getting into it?
Because of the crowd and maybe lack of pay as well?
Because they have to put up with that crowd.
Yeah.
And, now that's part of it. Now, I will say this. A good umpire can control a lot of that. And the way you control it is you go to the coach and you tell the coach, you need to get control of your fans. If you don't, you're going to be the first one to leave.
Mm. Yeah.
And, that's the way you handle that. If your tournament director doesn't have it, if you've got it in some of these big tournaments, you have tournament directors a lot of times that are walking around and they're spotting things. And when it gets out of hand, they'll go have a seat beside that person and say, you need to tone it down a little bit. And they get up and leave. That's a great way to do it.
Hey, Bill, let me ask you a question real quick. On your opinion, as far as the umpires go, because I've had a little bit of interaction with some of this. Is it best to only talk to the coaches? Because if you start getting into it with the parents or talking to the parents or giving them the explanation of your call, then you got a big problem.
You don't ever talk to the parents. Never do you talk to the parents. Now, I've had parents who tried to corner me after a game. that were upset because a call didn't go their way or whatever, and, they want to bow up or whatever. And that's where the, tournament director needs to step in and remove those folks from the field.
I got you.
Yeah. As an umpire, you don't ever turn around and talk with the fans.
Yeah, and I think
ever.
I think that's probably a big thing because you have those guys that you want to be liked by everybody, and so some of those guys they'll get quite friendly during the game with some of the coaches, and then boom, you can see it. I've seen it where they make a call that that the guys that they were kind of him-hawing around with in between the innings didn't like, and then next thing they're all chippy at each other. So that's a good insight on that.
There's not an umpire out there that hadn't booted one or two,
yeah,
or 100.
Well,
it just happens. That's part of it.
And you have such a great perspective
on
on
that it goes that way, but sometimes there's ways to get out of that. If you're umpiring in a 2 or 3-man crew, the coach comes out. Now, if he comes out kicking and screaming and yelling, and you gotta get it, I'm probably not inclined to go ask for help.
Yeah.
But if he comes to me and says, "Hey, what'd you see there? I saw it a little differently than that. Do you mind asking for help?" I will go. I would absolutely. I'll go ask for help. But don't come out of that dugout screaming and hollering and trying to show me up. If you do that, I'm going to win that battle every time.
Yeah, and see, I think that's the thing. Like, and like you said, going back to the average age, like, you're an older gentleman, and most of them were. And, a lot of these kids that are umpiring now, there's sometimes 15 and 19 and 18-year-old kids out there, and they don't understand that. And I think that's part of the bigger problem as well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Well, I would. Like I say, I haven't done this since the hurricane. When the hurricane hit, that summer before the hurricane was the last year that I officiated. I got rid of all of my gear, and I just haven't been back, haven't been affiliated with it since then. But, I know that people, and it's a societal thing. The people have lost respect for others, and they think that because they bought a ticket or because they paid $1,200 for little Johnny to come down and play this week, I can roll the umpire anytime I want to, and I can say anything that I want to say. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
You don't treat people like that.
No. What
if the umpires turned around and put it on the other hand and say, "Man, your son just sucks." You know that? Your son is terrible. I've never seen a kid that couldn't hit that pitch. How could you? Would that be accepted?
Right. I think that's all fair. I think, from the beginning until the end, the way you conduct yourself and the way you ask for help, or the way you, say to the umpire, "Hey, can I appeal this call?" or whatever. Yeah. I think it's kind of like dealing with our wives. You better be careful of how you come, to them before you just, come at them the wrong way. I'd say that.
Yeah, I just, I dealt with it for a long time, and I think that I was pretty good at handling those situations most of the time. But it's just over the years, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And like I say, hey, if the fan has the right to just absolutely murder the umpire, then the umpire ought to be around, turn around and tell them how bad their kid.
I would love to. I would pay tickets for that umpire show. I tell you that much. And then also, I think it should be mandatory. You know how they make it mandatory for parents to go work the concession stand or whatever? I think it should be mandatory for parents to have to umpire.
Yeah. That would straighten a bunch of it out. All right, guys, I appreciate you letting me vent. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening, Bill. We appreciate it, man.
And he has such a great perspective on that because of doing both sides. Obviously, he was a parent to his sons, and Cody went a long way playing baseball as well. So he's been in both shoes right there. And that is one of the things, man. It stinks. You brought up a good point. There's nothing wrong with 18, 19-year-old umpires. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a difference in the wisdom that comes with what you're getting out of an umpire that's, 40 and above or whatever. All of my umpires growing up, for the most part, were older umpires.
Yeah.
When we got a young buck, and I'm talking, we're 12, 13 years old playing baseball. When we got a long umpire, we were more worried about, not more worried about that, but you're more worried about his consistency rather when you've got somebody with gray hair behind the plate.
Right.
And they teach you lessons along the way. That's something that an 18, 19-year-old maybe, but probably is not out there for anything other more than the money. Whereas the older umpires are out there for giving back to the game and the love of community and all of that. And the 18, 19-year-old, if they stick with it, they will too.
Yeah.
They will too, but there's just a difference. And what does the Bible say about gray hair?
Yeah.
That's a sign of wisdom,
That's
baby.
right. And see, and I know this is a sports show, but you have this all throughout. He brought up society. You have this in society. Because growing up, my teachers were grandmas for the most part.
Yeah.
My teachers were, already established, and there's nothing wrong with, younger teachers.
Yeah.
My son's going to be a teacher. But you dealing with the kids is just like, an older person. They're just more seasoned, as you can say. And so I think it's the same way as far as the baseball umping too, which is crazy to me because you go out there and you might have a kid that is a freshman in high school or, you know what I mean? And this game is a tournament that, you've been there, you've driven whatever time you spent this amount of money to be there, and you want a confident person like Bill calling behind the plate or calling somewhere that he knows what he's talking about, because immediately as well as I do, if a dad that's played baseball, whether he played on the collegiate level, maybe he did play pro, maybe
his story says that he played pro ball and he never made it to the varsity team on high school, but whatever.
But he knows
ball.
he knows a lot about a lot, and the first thing, as soon as he sees that young guy, he's going to try to manipulate him from the stands to get him to call the strike zone like he wants him to call it. And here we are again having trouble where the director has to come, and I hate that. Side note, I hate the director having to come in and step in, because it does, at times look. Now, I'm not talking about your people climbing the fences or anything. I'm talking about just trying to handle the stuff and get control of the game.
Yeah.
It is a much better way when an umpire can stand there, put his heels in, and get control of that game and let the game go further. Because at the end of the day, who and what's it all about? It's about these kids.
Right.
And it's about them learning the game, and it's not about the parents or the umpire.
And the way that they learn the game is going to be the way that they turn around and teach the game later on when it's their time to teach it. So it's imperative that we teach them how to play the game the right way.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And hoping that they learn it the right way. Yeah. But we're going to a break, and we'll be right back at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Thank you.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Quarterbacks can be a lot of things in the NFL, but they can't be weird. You start looking at the stories that came out. Aaron Rodgers was the Steelers' third choice. Aaron's career is ending the way a lot of careers end for relatives and musicians and actors. Aaron's aging the way weird ages.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. A mixture of some sun and likely thunderstorms this afternoon and evening with a high near 86 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A likelihood of thunderstorms and some clouds tonight and a temperature of 80. About the same tomorrow, around 85 with possible thunderstorms. Partly sunny in the early morning followed by very light rain Sunday and hot around 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. The locals love him.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so glad that you tuned in today to listen to us. We have got a special guest here. We have none other than the Panhandle Conference Coach of the Year for your Gulf Coast Commodores, Coach Tyler Young.
Yes.
So good to have you here, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Man, you guys had a good year, didn't you?
We did. We had a fun group this time. We had a group that showed up every day and wanted to win. We had an older group, so guys that kind of been there and done it, whether it was here at Gulf Coast or at transferred in from another school. So like they had a year of experience under their belt. So, we had a group that they wanted to be good, they wanted to win, and they were enjoyable to be around.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you won Coach of the Year in the Panhandle Conference. Is that the first time you've ever won that?
It is.
Awesome.
It is.
Well, congratulations on that.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Now, you were on the coaching staff as a player or the coordinator of player development for the 2021 Mississippi State Bulldogs World Series championship team. Is that correct?
Yes, I was.
How awesome was that?
That was cool. You grew up your whole life watching games in Omaha, especially being a baseball rat like I was. And I always said, like, the first time I go out there, I don't want to go as a fan. I want to be a part of a team.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough there to go in 19 and 21. Then we won it in 21, so it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that team was really special. Like, I remember just, like, kind of keeping up with them. It wasn't like an expectation on a fan side, because you really, as you saw this year, you can't really pick who's going, honestly. I mean, right. But that team was just a special team, and I can't think of the kid that was kind of like the leader of that team.
Tanner Allen.
Tanner Allen,
yeah.
That's him. Yep. Is he still playing?
He's not. He got released last August, I think, which is a little surprising because he's one of the best hitters I've ever coached.
Yeah.
One thing about Tanner is he liked the big crowds. Like, that stuff got him going. He was a gamer, so I could see, you're in A-ball on a Tuesday night in Beloit, Wisconsin, and it's 34 degrees, and there's 100 people in the stands. How that wouldn't get him excited. So, pro ball is a little different animal.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. So your pitcher this year got Pitcher of the Year, too. What was his name?
Cooper Whited.
Cooper Whited. Now, is he coming back, or was he?
He's not. So he was a sophomore, so he's actually going to Florida State.
Oh, okay. So he is. Okay. So Cooper Whited is going to Florida State. That's awesome. So how does it work? Kind of give us the rundown for those that don't know about how the JUCO level works. So when the kids you're recruiting, you go out and recruit just like any college, right? And then what's your pitch to them? Like, maybe I'm giving out the information that other coaches might be listening to, but what's your pitch to come to beautiful Panhandle, the beaches? Like, what's something like if you were sitting in my living room and you were recruiting me, what would be kind of your pitch to get me to come play at Gulf Coast?
Yeah, well, JUCO's always been a good level for a lot of reasons, but now more so than ever with the portal and everybody wanting older players. So, we just kind of tell you, this is going to be some of the best JUCO baseball in the country, in the Panhandle, in the state of Florida. So, you're playing against the best competition. So if you put up numbers, like, people are going to notice that, whether it's recruiters or professional scouts. That's probably the biggest thing is right now you got to go somewhere where you can play.
Yeah.
And with these bigger schools and four-year schools not wanting the younger player because, I think this is true, like, physically kids are way more advanced than they used to be, but mentally they're a little more behind than they used to be, just knowing the game and understanding the game. So like you get them on your campus as a 4-year school as a Division I, and they've never failed before in their life, and a lot of times they fail and they can't get themselves up off the mat. They go 0 for 12, and that might be the end of their season. So then you run an older guy out there that has 600 college at bats under his belt, and he's more equipped to handle the day-to-day of being at a Division I. So that and the opportunity to come in and play every day against kids your age. It's not like now you're rolling in as an 18-year-old and your teammates might be 23, 24. You're playing against 23, 24-year-olds. So, you're going to get an opportunity to develop. And because baseball is one of these games, if you're not playing, like, you're not going to get any better at it. Football, I can redshirt and hang out on the sidelines and be on the scout team and lift and get stronger. And then I can roll out there as a sophomore or even a junior and really contribute. Baseball, if you sit on the bench for a year or two, like, you're just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where I was wanting to go with it because, which I don't like to say how old I am, but in 1995 was the year I graduated high school, and I got a scholarship to play basketball at one of your guys', I wouldn't call this a rival, but just someone that you, in the JUCO ranks that we play. And I've always said that junior college, even back then, because there was so many things that you had to get your ACT had to be a certain number. You had to get cleared by the clearinghouse. And if you didn't follow those and your GPA had to be a certain level, if you didn't get that, you could go play JUCO. And I mean, I remember playing Gulf Coast and they had 2 7-footers that was awesome. I mean, but they didn't have the grades or they didn't have, the ACT score or whatever. And so like, we would see, D1 players, and I played against a bunch of people that went overseas and played professionally basketball because they didn't have a G League at the time, so they didn't have a development. And so I would say that, too, is another thing is like you get your late bloomers, too, wouldn't you?
Right.
And that's where, I mean, JUCO is not a low level to me. I mean, because you're going to, well, like you said, you're one of your pitchers is going to Florida State. How many kids off of this team has signed to maybe go play somewhere else?
So we have 7 right now, and we still have a few more that need to find places that we're working on now. But yeah, we got 7.
7. Wow. All Division I or some?
There's 2 Division IIs in that mix, but the other 5 are going Division I.
Oh wow. Do you know the names of them? I want to kind of.
Yeah, so White is going to Florida State. The Division IIs, we got a kid going to Delta State, Francis Marion. Jacob Payne from here is going to Toledo.
Okay.
Alex McCraney is going to Toledo. Ryan Appoliski is going to Pitt. He's from that area, so he's going to Pitt. I feel like I have somebody we're forgetting. But, yeah, I mean, those are the main guys right now.
So how does that work on that end? Do they just do all their recruiting to the player now, or do they still come to talk to you and kind of get, what kind of kids is this guy, or do they kind of just bypass you as the coach and just kind of go straight to them now?
It's a little bit of both. It used to be they always went through the coach because I mean, and I didn't do a great job of this when I first became a head coach, but now like once you become a head coach, you realize like what it takes. For a player to, like, character-wise and makeup-wise, for a guy to be good, what are the common denominators? Like, you better call 4 or 5 different people that have been around this person, particularly the high school coach for us. And it's the same with us. I want to be around somebody that's been around, or I want to talk to somebody that's been around them for 10 months, 12 months straight every single day because, there's so many things that can deter you, like adversity, something going on at home. Like, there may be twice a week this guy doesn't show up and have good energy and he's very negative. Like, we don't want that guy around. So that, but the travel ball coach might not know that. The guy that's only with him on the weekend and he's bubbly and he knows guys are watching him and he's acting right and playing hard. I want to talk to the guy that's been around him every day.
Yeah.
But with social media now, and it's so easy to get in touch with these kids now, whether it's, you direct message them. A lot of them have their phone numbers in their bio. Like, we do have some coaches that don't call. They just deal with the kid directly. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Do you, as far as like, because to me, now this is just my personal opinion, if you start becoming a team that like is winning and successful and all of that, which everybody tries to do, but as a coach, doesn't it make you look better when you have your kids going and playing at top universities or top schools? So, like, do you reach out to some of the coaches and be like, hey, I got a special one over here, or hey, I got a kid over here you might want to take a look at?
Yeah, we do a ton of that too, and obviously we evaluate and gauge as coaches, like, what level do we think this guy can play at? You know, in this day and age, everybody wants to play big Division I because it's the cool thing, and then they got all the resources, and I mean, it really is, like, if you're good enough to play at those levels, it's a really good experience. But my biggest thing is, like, when you leave our place and I look at the box scores the next spring, I want to see your name in the box score.
Yeah.
You know, now a lot of it, if a kid just wants to go Division I to go Division I just so he can wear a shirt that says Florida State or Florida, whatever, I mean, that's his prerogative.
Yeah.
But most of you go to junior college so you can play, so then you can leave junior college and play. So, you know, I bring our sophomores in at the end of the fall, and we say, okay, well, give me 5 schools that you'd be interested in, and I'm going to reach out to them. Now, if they give me 5 off-the-wall schools I don't think they can play at, we have a very transparent, honest conversation and say, hey, we may need to tone this down. I think you can play at this level, because I tell them, like, my reputation's on the line. Like, if you tell me you want to play at Florida State and I don't think you can play at Florida State, well, I consider those people my friends and have a good relationship. I can't call and lie to them, because if you end up on their campus or they come to watch you play and you're not anything close to what I just said, like, I mean, that's ruined my reputation with them.
Yeah, and I see that, to me, that's where it's like, man, it's you love a kid and you want to see them flourish, and, you know, now you got kids that are graduating at 17 and are coming in and they're young and they still have the ability to grow, like, physically, you know, could grow a couple of inches, you know, while they're still with you. And then you have that ability of obviously, when he gets in the program, buys into what you guys are doing and really grows into a complete baseball player. Do you have any of those guys that you've thought about, like, that's been over your coaching career so far, that, like, had gotten there and then, like, maybe just a success story? Do you got something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Cooper White is a good example, the one that's going to Florida State. He's left-handed. Lefty's a little different. I don't need to throw quite as hard. But in high school, he was 84, 86. He was a mid-80s left-hander, and he didn't get any Division I looks. But what he did was he just won.
Yeah.
But if you went to watch him play one time and pitch 2 innings and you didn't know the kid or anybody around him, you would just say, the stuff's light. It's not quite good enough. And you didn't even said that for here. But we had a good relationship with his high school coach, and I'm just telling you, this kid's a winner. Like, and you start paying attention to box scores, and he's dominating really good hitters over there in Jacksonville, which is a good high school baseball area. You know, so we end up taking him, and he comes here last year, and it's the same thing, pedestrian stuff for this level. It's 85, 88, but it's 3 pitches for strikes. He can pitch in. He's super competitive. So he just won and won and won. And he's a guy you wanted out there when it mattered. And then he rolled that into the next year, and he had, he ticked up a couple more miles an hour, and now we're 87 to 90, still being able to do those things. So he was a, like, awesome, like, progression of why a kid goes to junior college. Like, you weren't quite a Division I player out of high school, and you got better as a freshman, and then you got better as a sophomore. Next thing you know, you're going to Florida State.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Again, we're talking with Coach Younger here from Gulf Coast Commodores. And Coach, when you look at these kids that come in, obviously, the parents there, they've basically just given them to you, and then now they're older men, getting into adulthood. How does social media play into making sure? Do you guys have a conversation when they get there about social media? Because it's a huge thing. It can be good, but as well as it also can be bad.
Yep. First team meeting, we bring up social media, and basically what we tell them, if your grandma would be disgruntled with what you posted, you probably shouldn't post it. And grandma is usually pretty conservative on what she likes to see posted, so we tell them, like, this stuff's going to follow you for the rest of your life. You can try to hit delete on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, but somebody's always going to be able to scrub it and find it, so that can hurt you not only for your playing career, but for your future professional career, whether that's just a regular job or professional baseball. Like, that stuff's going to follow you the rest of your life, so be smart about what you post.
Yeah. So as far as, like, when a player comes in, do you guys have, like, a regimen. Obviously, I'm sure you do. Tell us about we had Ethan Hess in here from Hess Performance, and he really, really, really made me think more about the diet, about how important that diet is. So what do you guys do?
Yeah, so obviously we don't have the resources at JUCO level where we can feed them when we, all the time when we want to. So one of our assistant coaches, Lance Bailey, he deals with all of our diet and nutrition stuff. So we give them a talk when they first get there, and we actually, we call it the Skinny Boys Club. So we have some guys that we feel like should put on weight, need to get stronger, and we put them in the Skinny Boys Club. And we also allow anybody that wants to voluntarily be in it, they can also be in it. So the way he does, he gives them the nutrition talk, like, hey, protein's the biggest thing. Like, you need this amount of protein compared to what your body weight is per week. So they have to log what they eat all week long, everybody in the Skinny Boys Club. And then Saturday morning, they have to send him a screenshot of what they've eaten for the week by 9 o'clock that morning, and he evaluates it and goes over it and says, hey, you keep doing what you're doing, or holy moly, you're way off the mark.
Yeah.
And then we hold them accountable because, like, you're in the Skinny Boys Club because you need to gain weight. You told us you need to gain weight. A lot of you volunteered to be in this. So don't tell us you want to do these things and then now you're not putting the right stuff in your body, because not only is the lifting aspect of it huge, but the diet's probably more important than the lifting. Like, we can lift and then you not go get any protein the rest of the day. Next thing you know, you're losing weight. Like, you're pounding the weights, but you're losing weight because you're not doing what you're supposed to from a nutrition standpoint. So yeah, we pound that in their heads pretty hard. And really what we want them to do is just look at food labels. Like, be cognizant of what you're eating and what you're putting in your body, because there's just so much bad stuff out there nowadays. So just for them to look at food labels and say, okay, maybe I should put this thing down. It's got 70 grams of sugar in it. Yeah. And maybe, go get another Chick-fil-A sandwich. It's got X amount of grams of protein in it. Right. So it's just making them cognizant of what they're eating and what they're putting in their body. And if you want to do this, because, when they get here in the fall, it's hot. Like, so you're sweating and you got to go to class. All these freshmen, they don't, you can't prepare them for it. You can tell them as much as you want to, but as far as like preparing them for the day-to-day of a college athlete, they have no clue. Yeah. It's not even their fault, but I mean, you come in, you got to go to class all morning, and then we got a baseball study hall, and then practice, and then lift. Yeah. And that's, then you look up at 6:30 and, you haven't had time to do anything all day long, and like, you're tired. And, so if you're not putting the right stuff in your body, like, you look up and you've lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Yeah. So it's important for us because baseball has become like, you got to be physical to play baseball. Not or any college sport, but like, the 6'4", 180-pound string bean pitcher that okay, it's his second year here, he's going to throw it, 96 miles an hour, but right now he's throwing at 86 and he's not ready. Like, a lot of people aren't taking that guy anymore. They're taking the guy, they want him ready. Like, right now, you roll into campus, Labor Day, he's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I can say for sure 100% that I would be a part of the Skinny Boys Club if I was on your team, Coach. Well, when we come back, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to talk some more baseball, but we're also going to get Coach Younger's picks for the College World Series. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Need a bed and have no space? The Sleep Center has a new Clover Murphy bed. Convert a functional cabinet into a comfy queen-size bed in less than a minute. Easy to use, easy to love.
The Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Wahoo's Express Car Wash is now open and proud to be your local go-to car wash, offering top quality service with a personal touch. Their monthly membership plans make it easy and affordable to keep your car looking its best all year round. Wahoo's Express Car Wash has advanced equipment and an experienced team to ensure every vehicle leaves sparkling clean. Committed to fast, friendly service and spotless results every time. Come see the difference at Wahoo's Express Car Wash, intersection of Michigan Avenue and 23rd Street.
Get ready to connect. ESPN Northwest Florida is thrilled to introduce the newest rock stars to the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber. AV Pro, Flamingo Hotel and Tower, Minuteman Home Inspections, Plato's Closet, Regional Homes, and Tropical Spas and Pools.
We're here to champion your success and connect you with this amazing community.
Congratulations from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, reaching Bay County and beyond.
Need a bed and have no space? The Sleep Center has a new Clover Murphy bed. Convert a functional cabinet into a comfy queen-size bed in less than a minute. Easy to use, easy to love.
The Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive.
Are you ready?
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
I love it.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
That kid was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive, your spot for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Don't forget, tonight the Braves coverage starts at 6 p.m. and the first pitch is at 6:15. I'm your host today, Paul Wilson, and we have in studio Gulf Coast Commodores head baseball coach Tyler Younger. And we've been discussing a lot of different stuff. And one of the things that we've been discussing, Coach, here lately is the monstrosity of the NIL. Now, obviously, being a JUCO is probably not as big, or you'll be able to tell us a lot more about it. But how is that effective as far as the NIL in JUCO? What levels, whether it's your experience with it or what maybe have you heard over your, the coaching friends that may have dealt with it or anything like that?
Yeah, so I've heard of some basketball programs, not in the Panhandle per se, but them doing some NIL and paying some guys, kind of like collective type stuff, to where there's a donor that cares about the program, and they exchange money with the player. However they do that, I would be interested to know that. Actually, I talked to a Mississippi JUCO assistant coach last summer, and they at their school had created a collective. And basically what they were trying to do is, in Mississippi, you can offer tuition, books, and fees, but you can't pay for their housing or meals. So they were basically trying to raise enough money where they could give all their guys enough extra money to take care of their living and their food. Kind of a cost of attendance type thing, which I get. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But obviously, it's not to the level of what it is at the Division I.
Yeah. Do you guys? So y'all don't have any NIL money that comes in, or as far as like paying the kids to come in or anything like that?
No, we don't. As far as Gulf Coast having some sort of collective or whatever. I mean, we've had like athletes that get on Instagram and somehow get like a sunglass deal or an apparel deal with somebody that you've never heard of.
Right.
But that's just them on their own, and that's what NIL was intended to be from the get-go, and it's kind of turned into a nightmare.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what is your view on it, because we've had several, and I don't know if you know this or not, but David Hayes, that's running the board for us, he is our in-house local NIL aficionado. He knows everything there is to know about the NIL.
Which is what everyone knows, absolutely nothing.
Yep. I've followed this House settlement way too closely the last year, so I mean, I have some knowledge of it. It was frustrating at times because you couldn't get any answers out of anybody, but it sounds like some of it's starting to come to a head finally. Yeah,
it looks like if they can get their hands around it, maybe eventually, that hopefully it'll be, some type of commission. Obviously, a lot of people are, with the White House taking it on, and, Coach Saban and Donald Trump being together, they're hoping that they can figure something out. And Coach Saban's like, well, I don't even know anything about a commission whenever they asked him, but he's supposed to be the head of the commission, and hopefully they can get their head around it. But have you guys, another topic that we've been discussing heavily here on this show is the UCL, and just the frequency of it now. And, again, I told you that we had Ethan on with Hess Performance, and we talked a lot about that. And, for me, back when I was younger or when I was playing baseball, the rotator cuff, which is still an issue, that was the huge thing, and it didn't heal as well as, with it being a separate type of issue than the UCL. Have you guys had anyone that has had to have Tommy John, or have any kids that have come in that's had Tommy John?
Yeah, so and I'm going to knock on wood here, we've had nobody blow it out in our program. Like, guys came in with already having issues, then they tried to throw early in the fall, and then, you send them to get it looked at, and it's torn. But they've come in with those issues. But, yeah, we've obviously dealt with people that have had it and rehabbing it and getting them back and that type of stuff.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, you have some 15 and 16-year-old kids that, they're doing it on purpose. Right. And which kind of goes into, it goes into the parameters of maybe what we were talking about earlier, which is the travel ball culture that we live in today. And I have a son, he plays, and I'm an assistant coach. I'm just more of a helper than anything. But, when you see the parameters that are given, and I want to pick your brain on this real quick, because I have my own thoughts about it, but I'd like to have someone in your position to be able to tell me. When you come into a tournament, for the most part, not all the tournaments are the same, obviously, because they got all different rules with different sanctions and that kind of thing. But you got some travel ball places that will say, you can only throw 60 pitches or 120 pitches for the weekend or whatever. And then you got some that say innings pitched. Number one, how do you feel about that part of it? Innings versus pitches.
Right. Well, I mean, every pitch is not created equal. If I'm having to make a bunch of pitches with the bases loaded, or second and third and one out, those are high stress pitches.
Right.
What's interesting to me is, like, what is the science? Because some, like you're saying, some people go by innings pitched, which I could throw 50 pitches per inning for 3 innings, and I'm at 150 pitches.
Exactly.
And some of it's pitches thrown. Well, that doesn't account for how many pitches I had to throw in the bullpen to get loose, how many pitches I'm throwing in between innings to, while we're waiting on the other team to hit. So, it's funny. We claim we have science on this. And the USA Baseball pitch smart rules there is some science behind it, but there is some people that do the innings and some people that do the pitches. What is the science is what I would lean more towards pitches.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, the way we do it at the collegiate level, obviously we build guys up, for our starters, when we start the season, we have 3 weeks of practice before we can start playing real games. So, we'll start at, they have a throwing program they're supposed to be doing when they're home at Christmas. And when they get back from Christmas, we say, hey, be honest with us. Did you do it or did you not?
Right.
So let's do the guys that did it. So then we'll inter-squad that first week of practice. There'll be 30 pitches. And then from that point forward, we bump them up 15 pitches each week. So they're not to the point where they can throw 90-plus pitches until week 4 or 5 into the season. And that's with college-age kids.
Wow.
And the JUCO level is a little different because it is a developmental level. Now, trust me, we're trying to win. We want to win the national championship. But week 2, we're not throwing our number one arm 100 pitches just so we can win a junior college baseball game.
Yeah.
We're protecting those guys. Like our number one this year, he's got a career past here. He's going to Florida State. He signed a really good scholarship. Okay, we blow him out here to help my win-loss record. I don't know. I just wouldn't be able to sleep at night doing that. We're going to throw him once a week and see how long he can go. Once he gets up to where, okay, he's at 100-plus pitches, we can let him go. Once he gets to that point, we pitch him and he can go as far as he can. Now, he might be at pitch 62 and they're killing him and he's coming out of the game. So you watch it, and if you watch enough baseball and have to make enough pitching change decisions, okay, he's, the old scouts, you say he lost a foot on his fastball, you can tell, guys are taking good swings at it, they're hitting it. I think the biggest thing with kids and where they get in trouble, for one, when they're young, somebody throwing them multiple times in a weekend, that's not good. But for the older kids, I go out, let's say I pitch on a Saturday in travel ball and I throw 90 pitches, 5, 6 innings, 90 pitches. Then they go home during the week and don't do anything. Like, I don't do any throwing like I'm supposed to. I'm not doing my lifting like I'm supposed to. And then I go back the next Saturday and throw another 90 pitches. Well, I think that's where guys get in trouble. It's not necessarily throwing the 90 pitches on Saturday that I may be built up for. It's that I did absolutely nothing during the next week and then went out and did it again the next week.
Yeah, and that's where, like, I feel like how baseball has evolved even more since, like, when I was a kid till now. You know, obviously, the games, playing so many games, and you know, you might have 2 practices a week, but like you said, you play this weekend and then you play next weekend. So you've really, you know, and on Saturday usually you only play 2 games, but depending on the size of the tournament, you might play 3. You could possibly, if you didn't do so well on Saturday, you could possibly play Sunday 4 games. So you got 6 games, and you know, you might have only thrown two innings, or you know, maybe 50, 60 pitches, but then you know, you got maybe 50 pitches left, and then you throw again. You know, that could be where, like, even like what Ethan was saying is that might not be the best idea, right? To go back-to-back days, like, give that arm a rest. So there was this interview that Governor Ron DeSantis did with former pitcher Tom Glavine. I don't know if everybody's aware that Tom Glavine has moved to 30A, and so he's over there. And been there since COVID, basically, is what he was saying in the interview. And what was cool was that to hear the governor start talking about baseball, and so Glavine just started talking about how crazy it is in the mind to think that an average kid's playing 50 baseball games a year for a season in the spring.
Yes.
Now, you played baseball, correct?
Yes.
Now, where did you play, and where did you go with it?
I played at Methodist University, which is a D3 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I played there all 4 years. I had a great experience. I went in and started as a freshman and started for 4 years, and it was awesome. But I could go back and do it again, I would.
You did it all over. Yeah. Well, so was the travel ball, I don't know how old you are, but was the travel ball already started, or was it in the beginning, or?
It had already started, but it was kind of one of those things where you didn't really start doing it until you were 15 or 16. Like the 8U, 9U, 10U, that wasn't a thing. You still play rec leagues, which then the rec leagues were you still had enough numbers, you still had enough good players where it made sense to play rec league. And I wish that would come back, but I understand why people don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to play on the weekend. Say my kid's one of the better players in the area, and then we try to play rec ball, and I'm scared. You know, if he's playing shortstop, I'm scared of him to throw it across the infield because he might hit the poor kid at first base in the chest. I know that's what a lot of the rec league stuff has turned into across the country, so I get why people don't do it. I wish a group would get together and say, all right, we're doing the rec league stuff. You know, so you don't necessarily feel like you got to put your kid in it at 8 years old.
Right.
But yeah, I started playing when I was about 16 with the travel ball stuff, and it's still, I mean, we'd play 4 or 5 tournaments a summer. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like, for us, we have to, you know, manage that. My son's 9, and they don't play a bunch. I mean, I think we're probably about 25 to 27 games into. We've got a World Series that's coming up, and then we'll take some time off and then come back in the fall. And so that was one of the things that Glavine was talking about, is that, you know, when he was playing, which obviously he's a little bit older than I am, younger than Tom Glavine. How's that sound? But so when they would play other sports. And so as a college recruiter coming into, how much does that play into grabbing a kid that has played other sports? Because we've heard Coach Saban and those guys talk about, you know, like Josh Jacobs, when they went to recruit him, they were at a basketball game that he was playing at. You know what I mean? So, like, he was an athlete. He could play it all. And he could, at his size, I don't know how tall he is, but he's not very tall, but he could dunk the basketball. You know, that's something good. So when you see kids that you're recruiting, does that kind of play into it a little bit? Or do you just, you know, are you like, you know, this kid is a full-fledged 100% all baseball, or was he a starting quarterback but just loves baseball and wants to play baseball?
Right. I've had to pick between the two. I'd want the multi-sport athlete, because I mean, that's one that our recruiting is. We like physical athletes, guys that can play multiple positions, not just on the baseball field, but you like for them to just be an athlete in general. So we tend to recruit that type of guy. So, I mean, it's a bonus for us if they've, if they were the quarterback or the point guard. I listened to that Saban interview, and he made a good point I didn't ever think about. He's like, you go watch them play another sport that they're not as good at as they are at your sport, at foot, like Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
And you want to see how they compete.
Yeah.
How do they function in an arena where they're not the best guy like they are on the football field? Can they handle that? Can they compete? Can they handle adversity? Like, I thought that was a cool point he made about going and watching them play another sport.
Yeah, that was cool. Real quick, we're about to go to a break, and we're again so thankful that you came. And again, we want to have you back. Real quick, can you give us your pick? And we're going to hold you to it because around here picks matter. Who is your pick to win the whole thing?
Man, I'm an SEC homer for a lot of reasons, but I'm going to go, after watching them play Florida State, I'm going to say Oregon State.
Oregon State. Yeah. Okay, so we need to write that down that Coach Younger said Oregon State. So if you're betting.
I remember that pretty easily because I got Arkansas. Oregon State rematch going to happen, and Arkansas winning, but my second favorite team, or not second favorite team, but second team that I think would win is Oregon State. They look hot.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. And, here again, I think it's one of those things where this year's college baseball World Series is just crazy. You don't never know who's going to win. Yep. But thanks so much, Coach, for coming in. We appreciate you. When we come back, we'll be discussing the NBA and all sports-related stuff. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
I buy socks from the supermarket. Is that weird?
Yes, that's strange. Supermarket socks?
I support it. You're going to rip every sock anyway.
No,
some socks are very nice.
Yeah,
you want to take care of
comfort.
them.
There's a certain level of comfort.
I like supermarket socks.
Well, if you like it, then you like it.
Yeah, you like it, but I assume that you like it because you don't know no better.
Evan Canty and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. A mixture of some sun and likely thunderstorms this afternoon and evening with a high near 86 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A likelihood of thunderstorms and some clouds tonight and a temperature of 80. About the same tomorrow, around 85 with possible thunderstorms. Partly sunny in the early morning followed by very light rain Sunday and hot around 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
GSX Lynn WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You are listening to The Inside Drive. I'm Paul Wilson, your host today. Also, don't forget, want to mention it one more time. Go out and vote for Ryan with The Inside Drive, Best of Bay. Also, want to make a quick announcement about the 4th annual Pops Pig Picking Barbecue. All the proceeds will go to benefit hurricane relief victims, and the dinner tickets are $20. There will be a pool tournament at 1 p.m. for $15, and that's in honor of Ron Pops Robinson. Saturday, June the 14th from 12 to 6 at the Break Room, 2727 Joan Avenue.
That's this Saturday. Y'all get out there, pack it out. I'll be up there. I don't know exactly what time I'll be up there tomorrow, but it's going to be a great time, great food, and more than anything for a great cause.
Yeah, I heard you guys on, I think it was on the Underdog Show last week or even this week. Did you guys name the pig that was going to get pig roasted?
Yeah, Notorious P.I.G., Piggy Smalls.
Piggy Smalls. Yeah. That's pretty good. I heard some other ones that I thought was pretty good, like was it Scam Newton? Or?
You had Pig Newton.
Pig Newton,
Pig Newton, which was not after Cam, but after Fig Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had Wilbur, which is off of one of the Pig movies. I always get it, The Babe or something like that.
I don't know. I thought Babe was Babe.
Yeah, no. Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web. Okay, yeah. I wasn't big into that, but either way, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, you guys go out there and play some pool, eat some pig, and have some fun over at the Break Room over on the beach side. It's awesome. Well, wow. We're going to move into the next segment, and I cannot say it enough, David. What in the world? After the first game, I had this opinion. Then after the second game, I had totally changed and went to another opinion. And now watching the third game, I have no idea who's going to win. I have no idea what the Pacers are doing. I don't have no idea what the Thunder's doing. I don't even know. I tried, I played college basketball. I call myself a fan of the sport. I call myself somebody that knows a little bit about basketball. I've coached some and played a lot. But I have no idea what's going to happen. I know that all of the people are still saying, okay, yeah, the Pacers, they won this game or they won that game, but they're going to lose at Oklahoma. It's a done deal. It's going to happen. But I read today, actually it was yesterday, says that teams that go up 2-1 in the NBA Finals win the NBA Finals 81% of the time.
Yes, sir. I like that stat.
So that stat right there, now there is that 19% that has happened before.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't happen very often.
No, only 19% of the time.
19% of the time. I would much rather be on the 81% of the time. And the thing is that we've talked about it, and we've talked about how that Carlisle is a good in-game management, but he didn't do it in the second game. We talked about Halliburton needs to get going early. He didn't do it in the second game. But he did do it this game. And so, there's the things that you say that you want to happen or that have to happen for them to win, and that's really the case. Because if you look at it, Halliburton had 22 points, but there again, he had 11 assists. And they said that when he has 20 points and 10 assists, he's 7-1. Yeah. And so he had 22 points, 11 assists,
9 rebounds.
And 9 rebounds.
Yeah.
So
almost
he's playing almost a triple. But he's playing this kind of basketball, this style of basketball. And there was a time in that game, do you remember when the white guy that wears the headband for OKC, what's his name?
Alex Caruso.
Caruso. Yeah. When he picked Halliburton's pocket.
Yeah.
I said, uh-oh, here they come.
Yeah.
Here they come.
Yeah.
I thought right there, okay, here's about when it's going to turn, and everybody's going to be right. Everybody's going to say, the Thunder is the Thunder.
Trust me. As a Pacers fan, you're feeling that the whole entire time. And because you know it as a Pacers fan, you know going in that the Thunder are the better team.
Yeah. And you to see the way that they're doing it and how they're doing it, and obviously they're scoring, because some of the people have reached out to me during, the times that we've talked about it and said, how do you say that the Pacers are playing that great of defense when they're giving up 100 points? Because we're all used to 80s, 90s,
exactly,
and below,
exactly.
But
now it's like you hold someone below 120 and you're playing good defense.
I mean, the number was 111, and it's like, okay, well, if you go 111, you're good. You're able to win the basketball game, you know? And so, that is the case. That's the kind of basketball that we see nowadays and that we see going on. And so, I just think really that hitting their marks and doing the things that they do well and being able to make some of the adjustments, I believe that's what's going to make them win if they do end up winning.
Right. Long series, that 81% number feels nice, but that number can flip on its head tonight with a win. That number particularly won't change. Teams being 81% when they get a 2-1 lead. But if this game goes back to OKC tied 2-2, then that changes things. I'm not going to sit here and say that that the Pacers are winning this game tonight. It's going to be another one I go into just kind of watching and hoping. And when the OKC Thunder find themselves with a 10-point, 15-point lead, just try not to, be like, oh, the world is falling, all of that good stuff or all that bad stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say that They haven't lost back. Neither one of these teams have lost back-to-back games in a long time. So there is that. But yeah, the king of, Coach Rick Carlisle does such a great job at kind of exploiting the matchups to an extent too.
Yeah.
And there's another thing they haven't keyed in yet on TJ McConnell, which not that they need to key on him from an defensive standpoint, like you need to game plan for him in that aspect, which he did score 10 points in game 3, but he's such a big piece coming off the bench defensively, and they haven't seemed to have an answer for him yet. So I like that. I don't think it's going to be Mathurin with an explosion of a game. I think you can expect a decent game from Obi Toppin. But I think it's going to be Nesmith that goes off tonight. I will also say, too, for the Thunder, how are the Pacers going to stop SGA and keep him below 30 points?
Yeah.
Again, I don't see that happening. So I expect another close game tonight when it's all said and done, but the Thunder are going to be coming back with a vengeance. So much like Indiana looked out of sorts in game 2, there were times where OKC looked out of sorts in game 3. In big situations, but it wasn't for the totality of the game. I think tonight you'll see both teams a little bit a similar game to what game 3 was, but I don't think that you see as many mistakes from the Thunder.
Yeah, and if you look at it, they do have a secret weapon over there on the Indiana Pacers side. From what I've gathered and what I think is that if Caitlin Clark shows up, they're 3-0.
8-0.
8-0, is that what it was?
Yeah, 8-0 in totality. I don't know if that's postseason and regular season, but 8-0 is the number that I saw.
Yeah, and now has she gotten back to play yet?
No, she's
still out?
Yeah, she's still out. I believe it's a quad strain for her, quad or hamstring.
I think so.
And yeah, so she, they had a game against the Sky, I believe it was last weekend, and they beat the Sky by like 20-something points. Neither here nor there. I just hate that for the whole Angel and Caitlin Clark angle.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, we can get a little bit because, I have some things that we want to make sure that we get to, but I do want to discuss that a little bit. And again, if you have anything that you want to say, if you want to make a comment, you can call in, text in, 850-215-6290.
Also comment on the Facebook Ginger. She says, let's go Pacers. Yes, sir.
That's right. So there you go. And if you think about it, if you look at this whole thing that they're trying to manufacture, because I think that's where we are. We're manufacturing a crisis. We're manufacturing a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson that is not an actual deal.
Okay, yes, I will give you that. But they're trying to make the most of the opportunity because they haven't had something like this in their lap before.
Yeah, it's never happened. Yeah,
right.
And I understand it. I mean, it's good for business.
But you think that they're choosing the wrong people?
I think so.
I agree.
I think that she's not that great of a player. Angel Reese is not.
I think anyone who has to ask or talk about the spotlight is. Yeah, that's and I will say that I was someone, because I wanted this to work out for the league, that I was someone who was going to kind of try to root for Angel Reese in the sense to be the antagonist.
Yeah.
And be the opposite of everyone who's all Caitlin Clark. Look, don't get me wrong, no hate, no disrespect towards Caitlin Clark. She's great. She's great for the game, and it's been exciting to watch. But you need someone on the other side to be that Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, weighted rivalry. But where's Sabrina Ionescu in this? Where's Paige Buckets? Which she's just now getting
She's
going.
back healthy, yeah.
So there's that. But where's the chick from Minnesota in all of this for the Lynx? Where's the chick Asia Wilson? For you know what I'm saying? These are like your perennial MVP is someone who you should be having matched up to some. But the problem is Asia Wilson, in my opinion, is actually a better basketball player all the way around than what Caitlin Clark is. When we talk about all tools of the game. Post game, give me A'ja Wilson every single time against Caitlin Clark. But they're two different sizes.
They're two sizes, yeah. That'd be like, to me, that'd be like comparing Kobe and Shaq or Michael and
yeah, to an extent, but it would be more like LeBron and Curry.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
But there's comparison there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just think that there's other angles they could go with it. And Angel Reese can get herself back into the conversation, but the things that people are talking about with Angel Reese are
off.
Yeah, like you can't make shots.
Yeah.
Scoring 4 points in a big-time game when your arch rival's not in the game is not boding well for the future of that rivalry.
Yeah, and see, the difference is, because we did have the same type of deal. Okay, so you got Indiana State playing Michigan State. You got Magic going against Bird. Both of them led their teams in college.
Yeah.
Faced each other. Awesome. Great games.
Right.
Games for the ages. Magic won. They go to the league. Here we are again. All over again. They're the best player on their team. I understand Kareem's on that team, but Magic was the force behind that team.
Yeah.
Bird, he comes in as a rookie, plays well, turns into what he is. That's what they tried to hope that would happen, but because of the play of Angel Reese, it just didn't happen. Because, like you said, I saw something the other day that somebody said if she was locked in a gym and,
could she shoot her way out?
Yeah, she couldn't, because she'd have 40,000 rebounds, but only 15 points, if she was by herself. Because, that's what makes Caitlin Clark so awesome and amazing is that she is the Steph Curry of the women's side, where she's hitting those shots. And I think that's where, her game translated to the NBA or WNBA. But then when you look at Angel Reese, she's wearing the ridiculous, and again, don't get me wrong, if you want to call and comment, that's fine. 850-215-6290, because I'm about to say some things that you might or might not agree with.
Here we go.
But
phone line's hot.
Yeah, here we go. So if you want to make the game about what you showed up in and your ridiculous outfits of how you dressed and what you look like and how you posed on your Instagram before you got to the game, but then you're going to give me 10 rebounds and 4 points and not bring it on the floor. I don't really care what you look like before or after the game. Like, as a fan, as a person that talks about sports, give me something to talk about that you're doing on the floor.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. I was going to play devil's advocate for a second and be like, well, if we're like watching these guys in the association and having any comments on what they're walking into, I would much rather have that conversation fashion-wise about the WNBA, because at least we're looking at something I want to look at in that standpoint. But no, you're right. Like, if you won't, but that's the thing with media these days, and it really boils down to social media but news and or TV and radio has to kind of follow the game plan of what social media is, and instant gratification. But the negative stuff is always going to be talked about more than what the positive is, because when you say something, when you're talking about a negative subject, you're going to have people on both sides, same way that you will with a positive. But most of the time, when something's a positive story or whatever, it's like we agree with it, so there's no reason for me to call in and agree with you, but or text in and agree with you. But when you say something that gets on people's nerves or whatever, or that they disagree with you, they're much more apt to come out and talk about that. So that's the same way you garner more engagement with when talking about Angel Reese.
Yeah, and I think it's great for the game. Again, all content is great for the game, and I'm sure that the WNBA is definitely happy with the things that they're relevant. They're getting talked about. But let's just put it out there. The game has grown miles and miles when Caitlin Clark's on the floor. I mean, I think I saw the other day with the ticket prices when before she was hurt was like, I don't know, somewhere around the $100, $120 for her game to get to watch her. But then it was like, fell off dramatically after she is hurt and not going to be playing.
So they're moving games from their traditional WNBA sites to NBA sites when Caitlin Clark is in town. So for that Angel Reese game, the game against the Sky, they moved it to the United Center where the Blackhawks and the Bulls play.
Yeah.
And right before the game, tickets had dropped to $9.
Oh, wow.
For that game.
So that's legitimate. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I didn't realize that.
Which, I mean, I can understand that, but here's the thing. If you're looking into the future, right, you could be so excited about the WNBA right now because Caitlin Clark's a part of it, but before she was a part of it, it wasn't very popular. So what people need to, my thing is this good for the future of the league that they're banking so much on this one athlete that by the time her career is done, is it still in the position that is the league still in the position that that it was in when she came into the league?
So I have a opinion about that. So I believe that every 10 years that you need some type of new fresh come in, right, to keep the momentum, because just like when Jordan left, it fell off. Just like when Kobe left, it fell off. And you've got to keep that line, if you would, to keep coming, because the
league had LeBron, though.
They had LeBron, and I believe
so there was that small little window from like 98, but there was the back and forth kind of retirements from Jordan, so the league was kind of up in hand.
Yeah, that helped.
But yeah, and then Kobe, I would say, was the rightful spot holder until people realized like what LeBron James brought to the table.
Right. And then you had his deal, and then, you know, and so like really, and then you've got like I mean, if you look at the NBA, there's, I mean, Halliburton and SGA. I mean, they're people are favorite players, but
they're not the face.
They're not the face of the league, and they're not going to be. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't think they can be.
No doubt for Halliburton. SGA has a chance.
See, I don't see it,
but
because I don't think he plays above the rim as much.
Right.
I mean, you got to have that guy.
If they were to change the logo of the league to a free throw, then SGA would 100% be the logo of the league.
Wow. All right. SGA's representatives might be calling here.
I'm not hating on him. He's doing his job, getting to the line, right?
Yeah.
But, you know.
But I think as far as going back to the WNBA, they're going to have to, when you have these other players that are coming in, but while they're watching, that's where the WNBA is going to have to do a good job. And, I mean, it's going to be about play. And we've talked about this before on the show, where it doesn't really get exciting to see a lady do a layup, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to be able to shoot the ball like Caitlin Clark. They're going to have to bring the excitement like Caitlin Clark. Or not.
Oh, no. Or find a way to use two rims, one for shooting and one for dunking.
They can move the rim down.
Well, I don't think they want that, but I think there's sometimes you do things that you don't want to do, but that you need to do. And you know, then you have the argument of, well, it would affect our shot. So boom, we have a shooting rim for you.
And
so
a dunking
anytime
rim.
You're outside of the paint, you got to use this, and then we have a dunking rim. And so you have to dunk. You can't lay up into the 8-foot basket.
They're not going to do that.
No, they're not going to. But I'm just trying to.
But they're going to have to, because, you know, God forbid that she gets hurt and can't play anymore.
Yeah.
Or once her 10 years, you know, obviously
evaporate.
Yeah. If she isn't able to shoot as well anymore after 10 or 15 years or whatever it is, hopefully all of that's not true.
Do we call it father time in the WNBA or mother time?
It'd have to be mother time. I mean, you know, it's going to have to be. But
mother time.
But I think that's where, as far as the WNBA goes, that's really what you got to do. You got to, while you've got the listeners, while you've got the followers, while you got all these people going crazy, bring these people in to help carry when it does finally happen.
That's my point right there, is that they're living in this golden era to an extent, right? And I'm not saying
the Jordan era.
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. All I'm saying is, WNBA, you better be capitalizing on what Caitlin Clark is bringing, the eyes she's bringing, the promotion she is promoting, and figure out how you build your future. you know. While you have this, because if it falls off again for, you know, so many years or whatever, it's going to be really hard to keep this league. Because what's the complaint? You're not able to pay your players enough money.
Right.
as a league, you have to make money for that to happen.
Yeah.
So
you have to earn your keep. I mean,
Yeah.
we're still in the earn your keep society.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to produce or else you don't, receive. There's no reason why the NBA should subsidize you just because you're a WNBA, as far as now that the league has gotten to the years that it's done.
Yes.
You
Right.
At the beginning, okay, fine, subsidize it. But if we're going to talk about sustainment, then you need to be able to sustain yourself. It's kind of like, when you give your son a car, their first vehicle, that's fine. We're going to help you with it. We're going to give it to you. But you must be the one that keeps it clean. You must be the one that puts the gas in it. You got to take care of it and sustain it. And then whenever you get older, we'll be able to give you something better or help you get something better because of what you've done with what you got.
Just hope that vehicle doesn't turn out like the first pet, right?
That's true. And when we come back, we'll be discussing a lot of stuff that's going on with college baseball, NFL, and even some golf. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Hi, this is Ryan Mulvey, and thank you for nominating the Inside Drive on the 2025 Best of Bay. To vote for the Inside Drive as the best radio show in Bay County, go to ESPNPC.com and click Best of Bay. And remember, for a brighter future, vote the Inside Drive in 2025. This message funded by ESPN Northwest Florida and the committee to elect the Inside Drive.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. A variety of some sun and likely thunderstorms the rest of the day with temps near 86 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A likelihood of thunderstorms and some clouds tonight and a temperature of 80. About the same tomorrow, around 85 with possible thunderstorms. Partly sunny in the early morning followed by very light rain Sunday and very warm around 85. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new 2025 Kia Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride. During the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event, experience what everyone's talking about. Stop by for a test drive today and discover the perfect fit, featuring spacious 8-passenger seating, premium interior, and advanced safety and technology features. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours this summer and a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride with $2,253 per $1,000 financed at 48 months. Quality limit cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive. I'm your host today, Paul Wilson. And don't forget to join us tonight for your spot for Atlanta Braves baseball. First pitch at 6:15. Coverage starts at 6 o'clock. Here in the Golf Plus studio, we are going to be joined with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Aaron Bearden from Instant Replay Sports Cards. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, man, how you guys doing today?
We're doing good, man. I remember our talk last week, and my son, me and him were having a conversation about our baseball cards, and I basically just told him, Dad thought he was going to retire early, but Aaron Bearden told him that he wasn't because the cards that he had wasn't really worth a bunch at all. So I just had to let him know that.
Oh, man, I'm his villain now, huh?
Yeah, no, I let him know that, what the deal was with it. So I've been looking at some stuff online because I knew I was going to get a chance to talk to you, Aaron. And one of the things that I wanted to know, so I see a lot of these guys that are going around to these shows and they're offering cash and they're offering, that kind of stuff to buy the cards. And a lot of the kids are doing it nowadays. But I'm kind of curious. There's some, and just, inform me, give me some information here, because I'm really dumb to the game now, more than what I used to be when I was younger collecting. But so they have the boxes of cards that you can just go and buy, and then you just have a opening of them, and there's a chance that you could open a card that's worth $100,000 in those boxes. Is that kind of how it's working?
Yeah, potentially, depending on the product. Yeah, there are cards, it's a little different than back then. So, we talked about some of the cards you had, that back then you open a pack of cards and you hope you get a good player who has a great career and their card goes up in value. Card companies kind of cut out the waiting, and they just started manufacturing scarcity and short printing cards, serial numbering them. Instead of you having to go to the ballpark and give the athlete the sign, they got the athlete to sign the card. So when you open the pack, it's already got a signature on it, and it's backed by the card company. So they kind of cut out a lot of that waiting. And, yes, you could, in theory, open a pack up and pull that kind of, something worth thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially.
Yeah, so on those that have the potential, are there, like, for just a random box that could possibly have, an Ohtani signature or a Paul Skeens signature? I'm just talking baseball right now. Are those boxes, are you having to pay $1,000 for them, or are they, $500? Is that kind of how it works too?
Yeah, it varies. It's more about the odds of you getting something like that. Those odds increase the more expensive a box is. Card companies know, that they're pretty aware of what you're going to be paying for the product, and so they know they've got to give you something to make you a repeat customer. Mm-hmm. So if you buy a $40 box of cards, like a retail box you might get at Walmart or Target, the odds you pull something like that are going to be pretty astronomical.
Right.
Now, if you go to a card shop, like we carry hobby product directly from Topps and Panini, and you buy a $500 or $600 box that just has a couple of cards in it, and say they're both autographed, then the odds of you pulling something like you said, Ohtani or Skeens or something, the odds get much, much better.
Yeah, and those boxes are a lot more, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's, like I say, the bigger the box, the more expensive the box, the better your chances of pulling that kind of thing. We had a customer here on Wednesday pull a card that's probably worth a couple of $1,000.
Wow.
Out of the brand new Topps Series 2.
What was that cost? What was that cost on the box?
I think they're $125.
Oh, wow. So, going into more of that, I'm sorry to cut you off on that. I apologize. No. But when you get the box like that, and are you pretty much going to at least make your money back with some of the cards that you pull? Or is there a chance that you buy a pack or you buy a box that's $100 and you're only going to have $50 worth of cards?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no guarantee that you're going to get, your $100 back. I mean, it's kind of like lottery tickets. If you knew there was no chance you would lose, and once in a while you just hit something big, then why wouldn't you buy all the tickets?
That's right. Buy them all.
Yeah. So even like, a casino, a slot machine or something, they have to pay back. I think the law mandates, somebody out there probably knows the exact number. It's something like 97% or something crazy like that. So it would do you no good to just stand there and pump an infinite amount of money into it, because you would get less than that back. But once in a while, somebody puts a quarter in it and wins, $50,000.
Right.
It's kind of the same with the cards. If you just want to stand there and buy a ton of them, there's nothing saying you're actually going to get that value back. The difference with cards over, say, a lottery ticket or a casino machine is there's kind of that unknown. There's that X factor to it. There's nothing saying what the limit has to be. So they put these cards together, and they put them out, and they charge, $125 or whatever for that box. And they're thinking, hopefully you'll get your money's worth. What they can't predict is that one rookie in there takes off, and they're playing better than Aaron Judge and Ohtani, and suddenly their card is worth a ton of money. Mm-hmm. They couldn't predict that when they made the product.
Right.
So the potential upside is bigger than, say, something like a lottery, where they know good and well how many of those tickets they're printing and how much money they can afford to give back in prizes.
Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Not that way with cards.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: if say someone was to come into your shop and to buy a box and start opening them, and say like the person did on Wednesday, and they open that couple $1,000 card. Now, as far as your shop personally, would you make him an offer if he's like, hey, would you like to buy this card back from me? Or, is that something that you guys do there at the shop as well?
Yeah, we buy cards all the time from people. And, yeah, the idea that if they buy it from us and stand here and open it and then want to sell it back, we're more inclined to want to deal with them, particularly if it's something that a card we actually would want.
Right.
That's not to say, you come in and buy a box and we're going to buy every card back from you. It may be something we don't feel is going to sell here. It may be something we already have several of.
Yeah.
And it may be it's just not a price that's going to work for us. But, yeah, we do that quite frequently with people. We love to, people buy from us, they shop with us, we'll deal with them.
That's awesome.
And that's a standard thing with card shops. We talked about that on our TV show, the Card Shop Show, that, people, they want to go to Walmart or something or go online and get in a break or something. They get this good card, then they want to come into their card shop and cash in like they're trading in a lottery ticket. It's like your card shop, you didn't buy it from them. Why are they obligated to have to buy it from you?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Let me ask you this real quick. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. No, you can finish that. I'm sorry.
No, we have people come in that, that's like, oh, I just went to Walmart and opened this pack up and I got this card. What do you give me for it? And it's like, we sell those exact same packs. And, quite a few times we sell them cheaper than Walmart.
Yeah. And that's a good one.
Like, why didn't you buy it here?
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking to Aaron Bearden with Instant Replay Sports Cards. Aaron, our last segment, me and David, we really jumped into the dismal battle of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. We discussed a little bit of that. How does those Caitlin Clark cards looking nowadays?
Oh, her stuff's been really hot. Over the last year, she's outselling everything else in basketball, whether it's, the WNBA or the NBA.
Oh, wow. Are there cards of hers that are already doing the signature stuff too as well?
Oh, absolutely.
So they're banking on those.
She's been having autos. She's been having stuff, since she was in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about?
There's been a lot of demand for her. Now, Reese, not so much.
That's what I was going to ask the next question. Yeah. How does Reese's? What? So give us like a idea of number, if you could.
We have, like, say, some Angel Reese cards and Caitlin Clark cards here in the shop out of the same product. And without going out there and digging, probably the Angel Reese rookies are, $5 or $6, and the same product that the Caitlin Clark cards are, $30 or something like that.
Oh, wow. So, 6, 7, 8 times.
Quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same with the NBA as well. Last year, say, Victor Wembanyama, his cards were selling for a lot more than any of the other rookies. Angel Reese has done a great job of keeping her name in the headlines.
Yeah.
And hopefully, she can kind of transition into playing at the level in the WNBA that she played at in college, because that's what it's going to take to really get people to want her cards, not just, sort of notoriety and having a grudge or a feud with somebody. Players got to really produce, whether they're the most exciting person and a great soundbite person or not. It really comes down to, like, are they producing? And if so, their cards are going to be worth something.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, it's David here. Hope you're doing well this Friday, getting ready for the weekend. I've got some this or that questions for you. Would you rather have a Bowman First Auto or Topps Chrome Rookie Card Auto?
That's a good question. I think right now in the hobby, it's leaning toward the Bowman First, though I don't know if that'll last. That hasn't always been that way. But right now, I think Bowman First Auto.
All right, for the shop, what do you? What's the more popular option here? People buying singles or chasing and breaks?
There's a pretty good split on that. Our locals, they're box buyers. They want to rip stuff. We get tourists who buy a lot of singles because they don't have quality shops in their area that have a selection of singles, particularly older cards. So it's almost, you can kind of tell when people are buying something, kind of where they're from, based on what they're buying. Because like I say, usually our locals, they like to open those packs and boxes.
How about, would you rather a slabbed PSA 10 or a raw card with eye appeal?
I'm going to go against the grain on this one. I mean, I get for a selling thing, sure, the graded card's going to sell higher. I'm not a huge PSA fan myself. Gotcha. And there are PSA 10s out there that are counterfeit cards. So I'd rather know I've got a real card that has eye appeal that I can send in and get graded rather than something that I've always got a question about. I certainly wouldn't want to overpay for a counterfeit.
Great point right there. Jersey patch cards or on-card autos?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. I think there's a lot of questions, what kind of patch are we talking about? Plain white, like some of the guys call them napkins, those plain white jersey pieces, or really cool, some of them, they put the team logos and stuff on there, a bit of their name. I think those look phenomenal. Panini has done some to the college guys where they play some of those bowl games and they put the bowl patch on the card.
Ooh,
those are really fun because you don't see those pop up later. So those are great. At the same time, in an on-card auto, it's really cool knowing that that person kind of interacted with that card. They did have to touch that card. So
I like that.
And again, I'm going to go with quality of their auto as well. There are some people out there, sports or entertainment, who, really cool. They probably bring a lot of value to your collection, but they don't have what I think of as a great signature.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's a tough one.
It's a great point, too. And a lot of the times with those on-card autos, if they were signed in person, they come with a great story, especially if you were the person who had the card autographed. Let's go to online auction or in-person show.
In person, even though I'm not a huge fan of kind of where card shows have been going the last few years.
Okay.
But if I'm buying, I would rather have the thing in my hands and see it and inspect it and know that I've got what I want. Not taking a gamble based on a picture or, hoping nothing happens to it in transit.
Yeah, well, is there anything you mind sharing with what direction you don't like that the card shows are headed in?
Yeah, there was a time where card shows, the dealers at card shows sort of, they had what I would call like curated collections. There were dealers who specialized in certain things, and they knew if they were going to shows, they had an inventory they were trying to maintain. And so, doing shows back then, there'd be a guy who's like, oh, that guy's a tobacco card guy. He's always got some good tobacco cards. This guy always has, the newest basketball inserts, etc., whatever they had. Now, a lot of it, you go to shows, and it's like the dealers really aren't dealers. They look like they're guys who stopped at Walmart and bought some blaster boxes the night before the show, and that's all they have to sell. And if they have some cards on their table, it's just whatever they pulled out of the packs they happen to find on the shelf. They don't really, a lot of them don't have any cards older than a year or two because that stuff's not on retail shelves anymore. They're just guys trying to flip stuff and make money without, necessarily putting a lot of the work or time into it.
So it's kind of just like the way of society now where it's just instant. One more for you, Aaron. Shohei Ohtani Superfractor or the Holy Grail 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle?
Mantle, all day long.
Easy money. Tell us what you got going on at the shop.
Here's why.
Okay.
Mickey Mantle's, he's had his career. The man has passed away. There's been a ton of stuff written about him. Everybody who's ever known Mantle has had time to come forward. I doubt we're going to hear any horrific things about Mickey Mantle as a person. He was human. He had his issues and all that. But we're not going to hear like criminal, awful things.
Yeah.
Ohtani, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but you never know. He could get hurt tomorrow and never play again. Let's hope that doesn't happen. So many questions about that. And
his next interpreter might not be a scapegoat. I mean, you never know.
We honestly, none of us were there. We really don't know. I'd like to think he's totally on the up and up. He seems like a wonderful guy. He's been great for the sport of baseball. But like I say, he could get injured tomorrow, never play again, and that would kill the value of any of those big cards of his. I hate to say that because I have some really nice Ohtani cards, but I would take that 52 Mickey Mantle all day long.
Yeah, I would too. If that matters, I would take the Mick all day long. Aaron, thank you so much for being here. Guys, go check Aaron out at Instant Replay Sports Cards, and just get ready, because next week I'm going to come back with some more questions for you, Aaron. It's been a pleasure.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, we got Rip Night tomorrow night. Folks, come check that out. It's going to be a great event. Next Friday, I will be in New York City at Fanatics Fest.
Come on.
We're gonna have some amazing stuff for you guys. There's going to be pictures and video and interviews, and then we're going to Yankee Stadium for an incredible, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that the New York Yankees have been very gracious to hook us up with.
Wow,
and,
that's awesome.
The week after, we'll be here talking about that. Folks, it'll be on our TV show, the Card Shop Show. Check that out. And, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an amazing weekend next week.
Oh, man, that sounds great. Aaron, if you could just tell my friend Aaron Judge that Paul said hello, and that next week, whenever I get a chance, just let him know that I'll touch base with him.
Absolutely. I'll see if he's got that $50,000 he's still owes.
Yeah. We won't bring that up too much, but yeah, if you don't mind. Aaron Bearden, thank you so much, brother. We will talk to you next week. And when we come back, we will be discussing the NFL and a lot about Major League Baseball. You're listening to 104.3 Inside Drive, ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Must. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance with comfort, safety, and technology. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $1,748 per $1,000 financed in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. This is not for the casual fan. This is for the warriors. This is for the legends.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive here with Paul Wilson today. And, man, we have got a lot of stuff to get in the last 15 minutes. We want to talk a little bit about baseball last night. We had some pretty good games going on. Our guy over with the Texas Rangers, Wyatt Langford, went 2 for 4, had 3 RBIs and 1 home run last night as the Rangers beat the Twins 16-3. They smoked them. The Rangers trying to get back to that 500. I know the other day.
That feeling.
Yeah, I know the other day he took off a game or two, and just good to see him get back on the diamond and put some damage on. I mean, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, and a home run. That's pretty good.
I like that for fantasy purposes as well. Keep swinging that stick there, Wyatt.
Yep. The Mets beat the Nats 4-3. Man, the Mets are 45-24.
Yeah.
I know, but I gotta say it.
Oh, yeah,
you know, and that's the thing. Like, whenever I talk about people that I don't necessarily like or that I pull for, it's tough, but I have to tell. You know what I mean? I have to say it because I mean they're doing really good. I think they're like 24-7 at home.
27-7.
Okay, is that what it moved up already? So there you go. But then look at it. The Rockies beat the Giants last night, 8-7.
Comeback win too. On top of that,
yeah, that's their first walk-off of 2025.
Wow. Hunter Goodman has been swinging the bat very well for them as well. Probably one of the lone bright spots for them outside of now. Hey, 3 wins over double-digit wins. Sitting at 13. I mean, playoff bound? Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't know. You're stretching it a little bit. But, man, having their first walk-off for the season is not good for them. But, man, it's good to have them
It is
back
good
doing
for them. It's
You know,
good for them. I think we're starting to see a little different spark, a little different level of maybe not ambition, but just, like we can win ball games.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm like, man, come on, do something. And they did. They have been. So that's good. Tigers beat the Orioles 4-1 last night. Man, here's another one.
Yeah.
Yep. Here's another one. Jackson, is it Job or Joby? Is it Job?
I think it's Job. Yeah.
Okay, Jackson Job, Tommy John. Lost him to Tommy John.
Golly, and
so
that's a tough blow for them as well.
Yeah, he was one of their good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been good all year. Obviously, Skubal. I mean, let's look at what he did last night. I have it down here because I wanted to bring it up. But, man, he was on fire last night. I mean, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 walks, and then he had 6 strikeouts.
Yeah,
so, I mean, he's just
stud.
I mean, he is definitely doing his stuff. The scub is definitely scubbing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Brewers 6-0 over the Cardinals. The Brewers 37-33. Jackson Churio 1 for 5, 2 ribbies, and a home run. Now, let's look at who they pitched last night.
Yeah, there you go.
Jacob Mizorowski. I hope I split.
I think that's pretty close. If it's not Mizorowski, it's Mizorowski.
Yeah,
right?
one or the other. This is Alabama interpretation.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
The AI. The real AI.
That's right. AI, Alabama interpretation. He had 5 innings pitched, 4 walks, 5 Ks, but 14 pitches at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that we've talked about with the arm, let's stop and take a moment here. You know, this is really what they're wanting. I mean, this is what it is. This is, it's just like what Coach Younger was saying earlier. You have a kid that's throwing in the 80s, 84, 85, and his stuff is good. He's not getting the looks that the guys that are throwing 95, 97, 98, and now 100 miles an hour, they're not getting the looks. This is what Major League Baseball wants. This is what they've asked for. This is what all the travel ball is trying to get to. This is what all the trainers are trying to get to. And I'm saying as a whole, as a collective, that all the trainers are. I obviously know that they're trying to not, break anybody's arm or hurt anybody's arm, and they want the best for everybody. But let's just be honest. It's just like home runs. They want the home runs. They want the 100-mile-an-hour pitches.
Yeah.
And it looks like our guy for the Brewers, Jacob Murowski, however you pronounce it, it looks like he's got it. But if you look at him, he's exactly what Coach Younger was talking about.
Yeah.
He's that tall, slender guy.
Elastic.
That and obviously I don't want to say anything that would push anything on him to say that he's going to get hurt one day. But, man, you just wonder, because when we were talking to Ethan Hess at Hess Performance, he said that having your bigger, stronger guys that are more like your Paul Skeens, obviously he's a freak. He's 6'7", 250. I mean, you can't just, make that happen.
That's a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of, he's an absolute freak. But those bigger guys like that have a less likelihood of having the surgery.
Yeah.
They have less likelihood of doing it. But just looking at that guy's build, looking how tall and skinny he is, I mean, you don't want to say it, but man, quite an accomplishment, though. I think last night he hit 102.7 or something like that.
And I mean, and he threw 5 innings of no hit ball. But then hurt his ankle.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Yeah, came off the mound limping a little bit, but nothing looks to be structurally in danger, so there is that aspect. But, yeah, you do have to watch out for these guys who are tall and skinny and, built kind of like maybe not built like a rubber band, but that's how their muscles are, and it's worse for wear than what it is being the Paul Skeens body type build, but we'll see how it keeps going for the man. He's number one prospect for the Brewers.
Yeah, looks good. I mean, just hopefully he'll stay in there. Yankees won 1-0 over the Royals last night. One of those games that was a good game for pitching, but not really a great. Judge was on the bench. He didn't sit. He came out and pinch hit. He had asked Boone if he could sit out if he would allow it, and he said, well, you hit another home run, and I will. In that second game against the Royals, he hit the home run. He said, okay, can I take a break? And so, but last night he came in to pitch hit, and Aaron Judge is not a great pitch hitter. I think they said he's 1 for 12 when he pitch hits, and so last night he came in, and let's go ahead and move that number to 1 for 13.
1 for 13.
Because he struck out last night. But how they won was it was just ugly. Like a little ground ball, had a runner at second, had a little easy ground ball to the second baseman, and it was one of those in-betweeners in that 1-2 hole right there. The first baseman went ahead and moved and grabbed it. It wasn't Kaggs, it was the other guy, and threw it to the pitcher because the pitcher was covering. And that guy from second went ahead and went, but then he went back, but then he went again. And so he was hosed at home, but the pitcher was throwing it from first base and threw it to the catcher and just threw it in the dirt, and the catcher couldn't pick it, so they scored, and they won 1-0. So one of those games.
So their lone error of the game was the one run for the Yankees.
Yeah, and you would like to blame it on the first baseman because usually your first baseman doesn't have that great of an arm, but it really was the pitcher. But it is what it is. Moving on.
Hey, a win's a win, though.
A win's a win.
Score, right?
Yeah, and then they're 42-25.
Yeah, I was about to say, you brought up the Mets. You might as well bring up the Yankees.
That's right.
No doubt.
42-25. Yep. The Cubs last night beat the Pirates 3-2. They're at 42-27.
Yeah.
Our guy, Pete Crow Armstrong went 1 for 3, had 2 RBIs, and he hit number 18 last night.
Yeah.
Man, just to see him go, he's that poster child, if you would.
Yeah.
He's that one that would go, didn't look too great playing for the other team, and then just gets in the right situation, and he's having himself a season.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just one of those guys. He's exciting to watch. Probably going to be an all-star for sure, and becoming one of those Cubbies that everybody's loving right now. Chicago.
And he plays the game the right way. He's one of those guys that you tell your little leaguers or your travel ball players, like, hey, watch how he plays the game. He's having fun, but look how much respect he's got for the game as well. It's not all about, it is all about fun, right? That's why we play the game, but there's a right way to have fun. There's a wrong way to have fun at other people's expenses.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're out there to have fun, but there's a lot of passion in baseball, so you want the wins. Moving on, last one is the Astros beat the White Sox 4-3. Just a pretty good baseball game. 38-30 are the Astros. White Sox had a dismal 23-46. Still,
they got a new pitcher. They got a new pitcher now.
Yeah,
Aaron Savale.
Yeah, but is he going to make that big of a difference to make the turn?
No, absolutely. That's more of a funny situation because the Brewers demoted him to the bullpen, and so he requested a trade. And that was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And so they turned around today and said, okay, you want to trade? Here you go. You might have sniffed the playoffs with the Brewers.
Yeah.
You're not playing postseason baseball. As long as you're part of the White Sox could move him somewhere else, though.
Yeah. Also, for baseball news, real quick, Ohtani is joining the rotation in July. I thought that was really something cool. And then here's something kind of funny.
Cool, yeah.
Huh? Do you think?
It's cool. I just don't think that it's...
Yeah.
If I'm the Dodgers, what I'm getting out of him from the plate, I don't even want you in the rotation.
But you got to make him happy. If this is something that he wants, man, you got to keep him happy, or else he could just turn it off and be ready to go somewhere else, and you don't want that.
Oh yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If I'll tell you this much, if it's worth it to you to be more happy playing both ways than it is for you to win World Series, then I don't want you anyways.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I agree with you, but I just see it on the other side of I'm sure he's wanting to get back in pitching because I do know he loves to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do believe that. On a lighter side, I don't know if you saw this over the week or not, but Bruce, the Bat Dog, got called up. So he is going to be with the Major League team, and that's pretty cool. Another interesting story that I wanted to bring up before we got out of here. A man is charged with giving alcohol to the 20-year-old Pirates fan who fell 21 feet from his seat in right field onto the warning track at Pittsburgh's PNC Park last month.
Yeah.
So just a bad situation on that. I want to get to some of the cool stuff. I mean, I've been looking at Shedeur Sanders over here in the NFL, and a lot of people have been saying that he might be the number 2 guy, and they're just basically waiting on Flacco to mess up and maybe not have a great season and then throw him in there. He's really had a good OTA. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
But there's also chatter that's saying that Dylan Gabriel is going to go to the Dolphins possibly and be Tua's backup over there. And they're like Tua 2.0. And I think this is atrocious. I think it's the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't bring Dylan Gabriel over to because he's not as mobile as Tua is. Like, you want to have an upgrade when you do that. You don't want 2.0. You want not even in the conversation. And I just feel like, and again, this is my opinionated part of the show. I think this is a horrible idea. I don't think the guy's big enough. I don't think I think he played a lot of college games and he had a lot of good players around him. I think he could facilitate maybe, but I just don't believe the guy's got it. That's just my personal opinion. If I were them, shoot, I would. If they're looking for a quarterback and they're wanting somebody to back up, I mean, if Shadeur's doing really good, I mean, what way to bring some excitement and awesomeness to Miami? Bring Shedeur Sanders over there to Miami and see what happens.
Yeah, I think Dylan Gabriel provides less drama in the locker room to an extent, because I don't think either one of those guys are as good as Tua. But here's the asterisk: when healthy, right? That's the common theme with Tua. Really, any quarterback across the board. But you know, they've got Quinn Ewers over there, so I wouldn't expect the Dolphins to make a move. I think the Browns would love to see something like that happen, because that would put the Dolphins in the same kind of weird position that the Browns are in right now, where you have 2 quarterbacks drafted in kind of the same area of the draft, and you don't really know what you're doing with either one of them. I just think that is dumb front office moves by the Browns, but it could work out for them. So who am I?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Real quick on some cap or signing news. Trey Hendrickson still hasn't signed. Shamar Stewart for the Bengals still hasn't signed. A big deal going on over there with the Bengals. You've been listening to the Inside Drive. I've been your host today. Paul Wilson is my name, and thank you for listening. And we will be back on Monday. Have a great weekend and happy Father's Day. You've been listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
The Atlanta Braves picked up a series win versus the Milwaukee Brewers and look to keep the momentum going.
Pitch to a